have such sights to show you.
Come back to us.
Paramount Pictures presents Stephen King's all-time best-selling tale of horror. Pet Semetary.
Someone that I haven't necessarily ignored by choice in this ScaryMania series is Stephen King. Because while Stephen King adaptations technically got their start in the late 70s with Carrie, they were big time in the 80s. Like, there were a lot of them. And one of the ones that may have been one of the darker ones was the original Pet Semetary. And here to join me for that is Russell Howell. Russell, how are you doing?
Good. Looking forward to doing the Scary Movie Fest. What number is this for you? 6?
This is my 6th ScaryMania, yes.
Yeah, so looking forward to talking about this one. Obviously, Stephen King, a staple for any Halloween time, any Halloween time movies and all that. And like you said, they've been throwing these out since the 80s. So there's been a ton of Stephen King content, even with our podcast Notorious by Chance. We've done a ton of Stephen King stuff every October, just because it's just kind of a staple at this point. So I'm looking forward to talking about Pet Semetary. And a little disclaimer: this was actually the first time checking out the OG Pet Semetary of '89. So looking forward to talking about that.
Yeah, but the movie was directed by Mary Lambert, and like I said, based on the book of the same name written by Stephen King. I don't think I need to introduce who he is. It starred Dale Midkiff, Fred Gwynne, Denise Crosby, and Brad Greenquist, among others. And it tells the story of a family who moves to the state of Maine because unless you're The Shining or The Stand, it must take place in Maine. But that's a story for another time. They're a young family moving into a new home. Life seems good, but then their family cat dies. However, their neighbor, played by Fred Gwynne, knows of a place where if you bury a pet, it'll come back to life. And, well, it does. And something else comes back with it. And I was not prepared for how dark this was going to be, Russell. I'm slowly working my way through the Stephen King books. I'm listening to Salem's Lot as I'm recording this. It's actually pretty good so far. Okay. So I had no barometer as to what this was going to be. But, man, there's some stuff here where I'm just like, even for 89, this feels like it's pushing it.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, in the 90s, you'll have some really bad, some real bad Stephen King films, like cheesy, like your Sleepwalkers, your Thinner, your films like that are just absolutely atrocious. But then you have gems once in a while there too, like Misery and other films of like that. But this one is a little bit darker, kind of like you said, just the whole context of it, like death and children and pets, and it's just very dark, and kind of like what I said. The movie just kind of, it is cheesy at times, just because I feel like it's just so small budget. A lot of his stuff is small budget or made for TV, i.e. your Stand or your other films like that can be really cheesy. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I mean, it's Stephen King. It's always fun to talk about his stuff, and he makes a cameo as the priest in the film too.
Yeah, that one was crazy. That was a crazy, because for context, the I guess the laundry lady who comes in and does the sheets, she ends up taking her own life, and we smash cut to the funeral where we see Stephen King wearing the cloth, doing the whole "and God shall send her immortal spirit."
Yeah.
But considering Stephen King's feelings on religion, I don't know if that was a sick joke to him or if that was a dare. I'm willing to bet it's the latter.
Or one person who's super agnostic with just, I'm sure, religiously agnostic for sure. But it's always good to see directors kind of cameo in their own films, kind of like much of the Alfred Hitchcock, and obviously your M. Night Shyamalan making cameos in his films as well. It's kind of nice to see that, though. It's always nice to try to point out to see where he's randomly going to pop up. But Stephen King always has to have his thumbprint on his films or his content too. So yeah. he's always there.
Yeah, but Mary Lambert is primarily known for her work in the music video world. She would direct this and Pet Sematary 2, which is a sequel to this but is nothing related to the book. She would direct Halloween Town 2, which I have not seen, but it's amazing to think that you go from something as dark as this to
kid friendly,
the Disney Channel.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another time. Point is, I thought she did a great job of capturing the atmosphere. I love just how dangerous everything feels. Like there's semis passing by these houses every day. The signs were clearly there, and just like, who set up this route and this road to where like they have full on Optimus Primes like driving by these residential neighborhoods every day? Just poor city planning.
And on top of it, like my name says, bad parenting with the question mark. It's like, well, obviously you know the dangers of where you're living at. Why are you taking your eyes off your kids? Like, just kind of like crazy, boneheaded, dumb. But such is, I feel like you have to. Sometimes I feel like characters in films are like they're functioning at like a quarter of a capacity of a normal person, you know what I mean? So you got to kind of understand the stupidity of parents, but it's like, man, it's like, if there's a busy highway or busy road where you're getting semis barreling through and going fast at that, why wouldn't you have like cops try to set up like speed traps and stuff like that to slow down these maniac, semi-truck drivers? Again, obviously you need this to happen because of said film in question, you know what I mean? So you have to have this. I get it, but still, on the devil's advocate side of this thing, it's kind of like, you really don't, bad parenting, not watching your kids, not like just being very reckless, but that's just me.
But Dale Midkiff plays the main character, and I thought he did a great job. If you squint, he kind of looks like Johnny Galecki. I don't know if anyone else found this out but me. Yeah. But he kind of looks very much like Johnny Galecki to me. But just seeing where he starts and how he ends up, it's just sad. Like, it's so sad to me. And then you got Denise Crosby, who plays his wife. She does a great job. Best part of the movie, though, Fred Gwynne. Now, Fred Gwynne is a legend. Like, he's known primarily for the Munsters TV show. He was the judge in My Cousin Vinny, if my memory serves me right. I have not seen the movie, so I've only seen the clip of it, like,
he is
the clip of him like, did you say the Utes? And it's like, no, the
Utes.
Yeah. Like, so I know him from that. But here, he's great. Like, he's just like, to me, he'll always be Herman Munster. So like seeing his face here, I'm like, this is weird. But I also like this.
Yeah, no, he's a great actor. Herman Munster, like the Munsters, is just a great, black and white TV sitcom show, of this, I guess, 60s?
Yeah.
60s, yeah.
It was the early to mid.
Early, yeah. Fantastic.
And then he got another life on syndication, but that's a story for another time.
And a movie by Rob Zombie. So that's another story for another time, too.
Less sad about that, the better. But basically, I love how dangerous this movie feels, from like wherever the truck's passing by to the actual pet cemetery itself. It looks unnatural. Like, even the traditional pet cemetery where the pets are buried, like, even that, it feels threatening. And then you get to the place where the bodies are buried and resurrected. It feels like something out of an Ari Aster movie, if you think about it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of it's unnerving and unsettling. Just the environment that they paint the picture of. Like, obviously you have this household. It's like, oh yeah, it's a new house, and then there's this pathway. Where does this pathway go? To a pet cemetery. Oh, okay. Then it's like kind of dark, and then you go in to see where like the people are buried. And you're like, it's even darker. But yeah, I mean, I think they do a great enough job with that. Like, with the budget, I'm sure it was probably very small, but I think they make it work. And it's a serviceable, Stephen King adaptation, I think.
For the record, the budget was $11.5 million.
Really? Jesus Lord! Wow, and that's back then. And that's back. Well, back then too was a lot more too, though. You know what I mean? So, that's crazy. Wow. Okay, but still, I mean, that's small budget. With I think with Stephen King's properties, I mean, where you see other things like what I mean, like The Dark Tower and other films that probably have an astronomical, budget. I'm sure had a big budget too.
Just for context, the It miniseries, which came out a year after this on ABC, that cost $12 million. So
Man,
Pet Cemetery was just $500,000 under it. Think about it.
That is crazy. That is crazy that it was that much. I didn't even think I would not have pegged it to be that much. Like,
No.
yeah, for sure. But they do a good enough job with what they get. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm sure, stuff went for like salaries and stuff like that of your acting talent and stuff like that. But I mean, I think this was pretty effective though.
I'm sure Fred Gwynn's reputation pretty much commanded that he get a little bit more because
for sure.
Because when you're Herman Munster, you're Herman Munster.
Yeah.
But I guess this is not exactly like a trigger warning or anything, but just know if you're not really into like super dark horror movies, you might want to stay away from this because as soon as the little boy dies, like he gets hit by the semi truck, it goes completely south for this family. With the cat, it started out that way, but then this little boy gets killed and it's so brutal. And then there's a funeral scene which it felt very over the top to me with the dad like, "You killed this child." I'm like,
100%.
Sir, let me describe to you what an accident was. This was very clearly an accident. But then they have a fist fight in the funeral home. That was my least favorite part of the movie. But like, I get what they were going for, but it's like, yes, we get it. The dad never approved of the husband. Like, way to spell that out any clearer.
Yeah. Definitely kind of cheesy for sure. But like you said, if you are kind of like, light stomach on these types of films, obviously with like pets dying and like with children death, I mean, obviously they don't show anything, but still just the context of a child dying as a part of the plot, that might not be your cup of tea, so venture kind of tread accordingly to basically how you handle these types of things. And obviously I think if you're listening to this and watching this stuff, you have that niche of horror films. So I think you'll be okay, but just know that it definitely is it takes a turn to, definitely a darker spot.
And then with the ending, which I won't go too specific into spoilers, but let's just say Lewis uses the pet cemetery for something other than pets, and it gets very dark from there. And I love the ending of this. I love what happens, like how it happens when the little boy comes back and just how like terrifying he looks. We dig a little bit into the wife's trauma with Zelda. That part, I imagine, caused a lot of night terrors for a lot of young boys in '89. And then they have the fight between the two. And then that was pretty brutal. And then the ending, just like the actual like last scene where you just see like the reanimated Rachel and just that whole ending where it just fades, like it cuts to black immediately.
Yeah.
That's terrifying stuff. And to cap it all off, you get Pet Sematary by the Ramones, which is on my running playlist. I love that song to death. So yeah, like, the movie takes a bit to get going, but when it gets going, it grabs you like this and it doesn't let you go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely a different than some of his other films, like we met, like the aforementioned, like obviously like Thinner, Sleepwalker. Some of the really like kind of like they're like a pain, a chore to get through. But then you have films like this one. This one, it's an hour and 40 minutes. It goes by rather quickly. You can find it on Paramount Plus if you guys have Paramount Plus, the listeners. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the movie is effective enough. I like it enough for sure. Definitely a lot worse Stephen King adaptations that were adapted from TV series or film. But yeah, this one's okay.
Just for context, for the decade of the 80s, the Stephen King adaptations, they were as follows: The Shining, Creepshow; Cujo, The Dead Zone; Christine, Children of the Corn; Firestarter, Cat's Eye; Silver Bullet, Maximum Overdrive, Stand By Me, Running Man, and Pet Sematary. So you got some gems and some crap in there, and make no mistake.
Yeah, for sure. Maximum Overdrive, we did a podcast on that one. If you guys check out one, that was good. We always talked about, so we did The Stand, we did Maximum Overdrive, we've done It, we've done Thinner. Stephen King's just been a staple, like we kind of said, like he's just a staple, obviously, in literature, obviously, and just, film, pop culture lexicon. So it's really great to always kind of talk about his properties. And the thing is, it's still happening. It's still, his properties are still popular. They're still going on. They're making, the Dairy Show from It on HBO Max, which
looking forward to that.
Which looks really good. So it has almost like a maybe even a darker Stranger Things type feel to it, which I think is kind of cool. So we'll see how that goes.
And he's still going. The man's in his 70s, and he's got 3 books on the way.
Yeah.
Like, to quote George R.R. Martin, like, how do you write those books so fast?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Like, he's just, obviously he's in the right profession because he just keeps cranking them out. But it's just crazy that how vast his movies can go. You have something from like The Shining, and then you have something like The Dark Tower, then you go to The Stand, then you can go, it's crazy to where you can go with different things, or The Green Mile. It's crazy to see how, or Dolores Claiborne, just different.
Shawshank.
Yeah, Shawshank. I mean, just anywhere you can go with it. I mean, you just have that much, breadth of films and writing. It's kind of crazy. Like you can dabble with any type of horror, drama. I mean, it's pretty fantastic.
The thing about Stephen King and his adaptations is that they're like the complete opposite of boring. They're either going to be really good or really bad, sometimes laughably bad.
And that's
the joy of it. It's kind of like it's kind of like playing that claw machine in the arcade where it's like, can we get it? Can I clamp it? Like, I dropped it. Like, clamp it. Like, I got one. You never know until you actually sit down and watch it. There's been some very good Stephen King ones. There's some bad ones too.
Yeah.
But I mean, like all creatives, you're going to have hits or misses.
Oh yeah, 100%. You're not going to knock everything out of the park. I mean, that wouldn't be fun. That wouldn't be fun anyways. You have to have some doozies in order to appreciate the good. So it's always good to see, obviously, to experience the great films, the good films, mediocre, the bad films. I mean, it's just, it's nice to have all of it as opposed to just one, him just constantly knocking things out. That wouldn't be very fun.
Yeah, but I passed off to all of you. What did you think of the original Pet Semetary? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to read what you have to say. Russell joins me every week on the channel every Friday for the 60s Project, the 2000 Project, and the Horror Movie Iceberg podcast. You and Notorious by chance, or you and Notorious are doing a lot of good things right now. What do you got coming up?
Yeah, we are doing our 200th episode. Like I said, we've been just on hiatus for a while, and I blame myself on that, but that's fine. We are going to be recording this week on our 200th episode. We are doing Schindler's List, and then I think we are going to be doing, speaking of Stephen King, and we do it every year. It's a staple on our podcast. I think we're going to be doing It Chapter 2 because we did It Chapter 1 last Halloween time, October. So we always like to talk about Stephen King every October. So I think It Chapter 2 will be episode 201. So keep your eyes open for that. YouTube, you guys can find us, Notorious by Chance. Like I said, Chance, they do a lot of good work over there with football season, Left Side, Strong Side. So if you're a football fan, check that one out. You guys wouldn't want to miss what they have to talk about, just the head-to-head matchups for the week, the scores, and they even have they break down like the point spread and stuff like that. So it's definitely good. They definitely put a lot of work into it.
Yep, all those links will be down below. We'll give them a subscribe over there. As far as this channel goes, we just have 3 days left of ScaryMania